What up, B Squad? It is me, JB, and we are here today, you guys. I am so sorry that all of these videos are late, but if you guys can't hear it, I'm stopped up. My allergies have been acting up for the last few days, so I haven't been feeling good, so that's why these videos are late. But we're gonna start up with Sistas on BET. This is season 7, episode 11, and this episode was titled Gone Girl. Now, you guys will let me know in the comment section, was this the season finale? Because I was looking at the guide to see if it comes on next week, and I didn't see anything, so I'm going to assume that this is the finale. But before we go ahead and get into this review, you guys, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Sistas, shall we? All right, you guys, so this episode, it opened up and we see Gary. So Gary is having his office cleaned. So one can assume that Penelope is no longer in the land of the living, because the guy that he was talking to, he asked him what happened, and Gary was basically like, mind your business, right? And Gary was also very impatient and short with the guy. And I was like, well, Gary, if you didn't do what you just did to Penelope, which again, we don't really know what happened to Penelope. We just know that these people cleaning up all that puddle of blood that she was in, right? So that's that. Now we move over to Andy. So Andy was asleep in Jordan's lap, and she jumped up and she woke up out of her sleep screaming, right? So she let Jordan know that the dream that she had, it was a woman screaming and there was blood. I was like, girl, did you just dream about Penelope? Because that's exactly what happened to Penelope. Again, we don't know what happened to Penelope because we came into this episode and we just saw the people cleaning up behind them, what Gary had done, right? So we see Andy as she went into the office all chipper, and Fatima let her know, like, hey, Maria's in your office right about now, right? So Andy went into the office and she was like, I wasn't expecting you. And Marie was like, I don't live on other people's schedules. I would have been like, wait a minute, bitch. You don't live on other people's schedules, so that means you're just gonna show up to my office whenever you want to? No, we don't play that game. That's why I have a receptionist. That's why there's a receptionist, and I have my assistant. You book an appointment with me, because if I have another client in here, you're not gonna bust your ass up in here and be like, I want to talk to my attorney. I'm their attorney too, so book an appointment, lady. Book an appointment. See, she got the right one when it comes to Andy, because it just wouldn't have been me. Let's pause here and let's move forward, you guys. All right, you guys, so next up we have Sabrina. So Sabrina is at the bank, right? And she called Karen. And, Sabrina is still upset about this situation with India. So Karen told Karen that she wants to get all the girls together and have mocktails at Rich's Juice Bar. I was like, okay, cool, I guess. Not really, wouldn't be for me, but hey, because I'm not one of those people who drink, oh God, especially green juices. I don't know how people drink that stuff because it just looks so bland and nasty, but neither here nor there, right? So Karen is like, okay, cool, we can do that. But now Fatima, and I was like, girl, why are you such a hater? Like, Fatima ain't done nothing to you. Your issue with Fatima is the fact that she's with Zach. And if you like Karen said, infiltrating the friend circle, but she already worked with Andy prior to her getting with Zach. So if she had never got with Zach, you wouldn't have an issue with her. The thing that you have an issue with is, like I've said it plenty of times before, Karen's issue with Fatima is the fact that Fatima got the Zach that Karen always hoped for and wanted. That's all it is, right? So India came into Sabrina's office and she's like taking a personal phone call, But she was like, and so India let her know that she got the branch manager position. So congratulations to Sabrina. Now, Karen called Danny, right? And Danny answered the phone. She said, have you found out who the baby daddy is? I was like, Danny. But we all want to know the answer to that question, right? So Karen called them a bunch of disloyal heifers because she and Andy hang out with Fatima. And it's like, Karen, we can have different friends. We are a sister circle, but we can have friends outside of the circle. You don't like Fatima, once again, because she's with Zach, She's getting the Zach that you deserved and Zach that you wanted, right? I would say what I have in my notes, but I'm gonna keep it clean. But if I were Danny, I would definitely cuss Karen out because I call Karen in my notes. It says Karen is such a itch with a B, which she is. Like she gets on my nerves. Like the first half of this season, I was on Karen's side with the girls because I didn't agree with some of the things that the girls were doing. But now we're reverting back to hateful ass Karen, right? And I'll talk about it later. So Karen gonna say, well, what if I went and became friends with Tony's ex-wife? Why would you do that? That's the thing with that situation. The thing with Fatima is, again, Fatima worked with Andy. Andy's invited Fatima places. Danny met Fatima. Danny clicked with Fatima, and Danny liked Fatima. It's not like it's not like, okay, she's with Zach. You guys actually didn't find out she was with Zach until y'all bumped into her at the grocery store. That was when y'all found out she was with Zach at the grocery store. But by that point, y'all had already kind of y'all had been around the girl because she was telling y'all that's exactly what it was. She was telling y'all about her guy, but she never told y'all who the guy was because she didn't know that y'all knew Zach. So y'all didn't know anything until y'all bumped into her and Zach in the grocery store. So let's be for real, Karen. It's not like they sought her out. If you were to go and be friends with Tony's ex or even Mindy, then that would be deceptive towards Danny because you would be maliciously trying to hurt her. Danny didn't try to hurt you, so Karen gets on my nerves. So Karen told Danny not to invite Fatima, and she said, "If I want to invite her, I will invite a bitch." And I was like, "Exactly." So they hung up the phone, and Karen was like, "Bitch." And so she invited Pam to go out with her. I was like, you're inviting Pam to go out, but you just start some shit. But it is what it is, you guys. Next up, we see Zach. So Zach went down to the law office to bring some lunch to Fatima, right? And Danny's, called Fatima on the phone. And she's like, hey, we all getting together for some mocktails. There's some bitches that just can't drink. And so she was like, so is Karen going to be there? She was like, maybe. And so she was like, I don't know, Danny. And Zach was like, you should go. Fatima and I both said, wait a minute, I should go. I was like, exactly, she should go. Where your ex is. You've met Karen. You know Karen. We know how Karen is and operates, but she should go. Oh, okay, maybe. So after that, she agreed to go, right? And when Zach explained why he said it, I was like, okay, that does make a little sense, right? Because you have tried to keep them away from each other, but the more that you try to keep them away from each other, the more they come in contact with each other. So I got it. We'll pause here and we'll move forward, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, we move back over to Andy, right? So Andy, she's still talking to Marie about what she plans to do with her ex-husband. So it sounds to me like Andy wants the man to sign a gag order, but Marie doesn't feel like that will be helpful. And Andy's like, yeah, we can do that so we can try it in the court of public opinion. And I was like, okay, that's your plan, right? So then we see that little imp Hayden, right? And he came in, weaseled and wormed his way into Andy's case. And I was like, fuck. So we move over to Maurice, you guys. So Maurice, he's having phone, the actuals with Grayson, right? And so there was a knock at the door. And Maurice is like, did I just summon some, summon some dick or conjure up some dick or, manifest. That was his word. Manifest some dick, right? So we find out that Grayson is into some kinky stuff while he's at work. Now, the knock at the door happened to be Sabrina, who came to tell Maurice that she's the branch manager, right? Come to find out, the reason why she's a branch manager is because Maurice dropped the dime on Paige. That Paige was giving sloppy toppy to customers. But oh, God. Wow, girl. You was depositing their money and they were depositing other stuff to you. Oh, okay. Wow. So Sabrina asked Maurice to come back to the bank and he accepted, right? Next up, we see Pam, right? So Pam is talking to Karen and she's asking Karen if she can extend her lunch. And Karen was like, why do you need to extend your lunch? So the attorney that Andy hooked Pam up with told her to go get a bank account, right? So She wants to go down to the bank to talk to Sabrina about getting a bank account. I was like, okay, cool. I really, really want Angie to get an acting coach. I like Angie, but the acting is terrible. It is horrible. It's horrible. My God. But Karen agreed to let her go, right? Next up, we're going to breeze through this scene with Danny and Tony. So Tony and Danny, they in his office. He gave her some real pearls to replace the pearls that his daughter took, even though those were fake. And they had the actuals in his office. Now, we'll pause here and we'll move forward, you guys. So next up, you guys, we see Andy and Fatima. They're talking, right? So Andy is letting Fatima know that Hayden basically weaseled his way into her case. So he came in talking about, should my ears be burning? Fatima was like, no, but Tamara's pussy should. I was like, ooh, zinger. You got that one. He was like, F you, Fatima. She's like, that's why we're in this situation, because of you, Hayden. So Andy told, he was telling Fatima to get out, and she was like, I'm staying here. And Andy was like, you can go. She was like, I'll be outside if you need me. So he wants to talk to Andy about the case. Oh, you little slinky, slimy motherfucker. Can't stand that little, ugh. Next up, you guys, we see Jordan. Jordan is having a meeting with some guy that he wants to bring onto his, his bid for city council, right? And I was kind of confused with this whole situation. Now, he did say that he looked into this guy and, he had already, before he even got there, his credentials spoke for themselves, right? I was like, okay. And I was looking at that, I was like, something don't seem right here. And I was right. Something definitely wasn't right, because as soon as that dude left, he gave, he got the position. He got the position, right? Then we see him on the phone with the guy that works with Gary. So this is a plan from Gary. I was like, really, Gary? Really? Like, what is your end game? I just really don't understand what Gary's purpose is, like why he's doing any of this, because it honestly makes no sense. You ruined his bid for city council. How does that help you with Andy? I'm so confused by that, because Andy is happy with the guy, so I'm thoroughly confused as to how this helps Gary, but okay, I mean, I guess in his warped ass mind, I just wonder what the end goal is with Gary, because I'm so puzzled, befuddled, and confused about this. But hey, it is what it is. We will pause here, you guys, and we'll wrap up this episode. So we move over to Rich's Juice Bar, and here's another thing that I'm so confused about, right? Because we know that Sabrina is going through this IVF journey, but we also know that Rich doesn't want any kids. So I still get confused when I think about this. If Sabrina were to get pregnant, Rich doesn't want kids, and it's not going to be his child. So I don't fully expect him to be there for Sabrina or for the child. So I don't understand why Sabrina is still in this relationship with Rich. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but she's still in a relationship with him, right? Again, very confusing, because I need the writers to flush this scene, this storyline out. I really do want them to figure out what they want to do. I know that Rich, Tony, and Jordan are supposed to be the, quote, good guys that the girls are now with. Let me point out something real quick also that I have an issue with. Danny and Tony. I have an issue with Danny and Tony because she got with Tony right after she and Preston broke up. So it's a rebound relationship, which I don't see that. Actually, all of them are rebound relationships, if we think about it. Andy had been broke up with Gary, but she was dibbling and dabbling with Gary. So I won't necessarily call Jordan a rebound, but I definitely will call Rich a rebound as well, because Sabrina was still going back and forth between Calvin, and you guys saw how she was when she found out that Calvin moved in with the white girl. So that's a rebound. Danny and Tony rebound. But hey, neither here nor there, right? So Rich gifted Sabrina with a bag to celebrate her promotion, right? As branch manager. So Karen came into the juice bar with a stank ass attitude, and I was like, "Girl, have a get glad. Go put a smile on your face. Do something. Do something good with yourself, right?" So meanwhile, we see Zach. So Zach is over there reading to little Michael, right? Nice little scene. Then we move back over here to the girls, where Karen is calling Danny selfish. And I was like, "Well, Pot, please meet the kettle, because you're selfish as well. Because you don't like Fatima and she's done nothing to you personally, you want the girls to not like Fatima as well. So, doesn't that sound a little selfish, Karen?" It does, right? So, once again, Pot, meet the kettle. That's all I got to say. Now, Danny told Karen at one point she gonna mark those kids being so mean. And, Fatima made a little crack about the babies not necessarily being Zach's. And so Karen said, "Did you say something?" And Fatima said, "Karen, if I said something and I wanted you to hear it, you definitely would have heard it." I was like, "Ooh." So Karen told her, "Bitch, I don't have to explain shit to you." I was like, "Bitch." And Fatima was like, "Yeah, wait a minute, bitch." So once again, Karen is mad at the girls for being friends with Fatima, and she called the girl another bitch. And so Pam chimed in, because I think somebody said that Fatima was lying, and Fatima was like, she ain't lying. It was something about Fatima, somebody's lying, right? And so Pam chimed in, and Fatima was like, "Bitch, I don't even fucking know you, so you might want to shut the fuck up, because I'm not gonna fight her because she's pregnant, but I will tax your ass." I hollered when she told Karen, not Karen, but Pam, she'll tax her ass. And Pam was like, "Google me, bitch. I'm an entrepreneur." I was like, "Pam, what the hell does it got to do with the price of tea in China, right?" So Karen got pissed off, and she and Pam left, and I was like, "You did it to yourself. Like, you did that to yourself, right?" So after they left, Andy got a phone call from Jordan asking, has she heard from Penelope? And she was like, "No, I haven't heard from her." So Andy and Fatima left. She's like, "Fatima, come with me. I need you to roll with me and do something." She's like, I'm sure I know what it means. Let's go, right?" So Andy and Fatima pulled up to Gary's, right? Gary wanted to play hardball with Fatima, and Fatima pulled out a blade and she put it up to the neck, and I was like, "Oh, Gary, I know you're shitting yourself, but you want to play like you're not afraid." So Andy is asking him what happened to Penelope, because she told him that she was trying to help Penelope get away from him, and I was like, "Ooh." He gonna tell Fatima, "I'm not afraid of you." Yes, you are. If you're not afraid of her, you will be afraid of her cousin. So one of the two. So yeah, you're afraid. And then, you guys, the end of the episode. I was right, you guys. I had been saying it for the last few episodes when we found out that Karen is having twins, and I was correct. So Pam called to check on Karen to make sure she was good, right? Then after that, she hung up the phone, and the phone rang. She thought it was Sabrina, but it was the hospital calling her, right? To let her know that the results are back. So the hospital let her know that, she was like, "Oh, I already know. Zach is the father of my babies." They were like, he's the father of one of them. I was like, "You raggedy heifer." So Zach is the father of one of the babies, and Aaron is the father of the other one. I'm pretty positive of that, because that's what she was with, was Zach and Aaron. And Karen's face dropped. I was like, "Ooh." I can't wait to get to this. If this was the season finale, if this was the mid-season finale, I cannot wait to, so here's the thing, you guys. When it comes to Sistas, any Tyler Perry show, basically, when it comes to these shows, it's, I, like, you guys see that I completely dropped The Oval because it was terrible, right? I have thought about that. That was their season finale for season 5. So I know that season 6, they got writers. But even with the writers on Sistas, it's a little bit better than when Tyler was writing it. It's not so fantasy world, but there are things that they have missed. Like, I feel like they didn't watch seasons 1 through 6, right? Because there's some things that still don't go together 100%. So I don't know, you guys. Part of me thinks that I want to keep reviewing it, but another part of me is like, I don't want to keep reviewing it. But we will see once we get to the second half. If this was the season finale, which I believe it was, once we get to the second half, we'll see how I feel and we'll go from there, you guys. But as always, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next video.